I need to do more work on Heroes of Cosplay. If you somehow don't know yet, for the last several months I've been working on a video about the 2013 reality show called Heroes of Cosplay, and it was really bad. And the great thing about today's stream is while I need to work on it, this is not a spoiler for anything in the video, because what I'm going to be working on is this little thing here. This little thing. So what this is the beginnings of a 50-second animation that basically just goes over how cosplay contests work, because the show Heroes of Cosplay covered cosplay contests and did not do a very good job of explaining how they work. So, this is sort of my get everybody on board watching the video on how cosplay contests work. And I'm sure a lot of y'all already know how that works. So this isn't really a spoiler for the Heroes of Cosplay video, but this is a little animation that will be in it. And I'll start by talking about how we got to what we have here on the screen. So what this is that I have, if you've not, I did an animation stream a while ago in the summer when I was working on the Penelope video, but I sort of already had all that stuff set up and I was just kind of finishing it. If you don't know what program this is Adobe After Effects. This is my bread and butter. This is where I have lived for the last like 10 years. Actually, nowadays I mostly live in Premiere and then I go into After Effects when I have to do this stuff, but for a long point in my life, all I ever had open was After Effects. Anyway, what I have loaded into my After Effects project is a Fresco file. So Adobe Fresco is a drawing application that you can get on tablets. So I use it on my iPad. Then I bring that file and I open it in Photoshop because Fresco files are Photoshop files. And then I basically just go in and rename all of the layers so that it's something I can identify. So I'm not going to do the entire animation today because it takes a while, but what I am going to do is get it set up. This, by the way, this layer here is my storyboard that I also did in Fresco, but I'm going to be laying it out to where, so here's my timeline of the actual like this has my audio in it, but all I have in here so far is some of the backgrounds that I'm going to be using, and I'm reusing a bunch of assets that I drew for the horror stories this year and the cheating video. So, first things first, I need to rig up Karen. If you don't know what I mean by rigging, I will make the table go away so I can see what I'm doing. Basically, what I have here is a bunch of layers, right? Her head is a separate layer, her eyes are a separate layer, her body, her arms, and that will let me animate them essentially like she's a little puppet. But when you bring these files in, you see this little guy right here? That's the anchor point of the layer. When that is here, if I go to rotate it, it's going to rotate like that, and that's not how an arm moves, right? So all I do, because I don't use anything fancy, there's a lot of different like fancy rigging stuff you can get that makes all this so much, not necessarily easier, but there's a lot of different plugins that are for this kind of animation, and I've used some of those before, but they're like, from what I remember, they're just kind of weird. And because my little puppets are not that complicated, then I just do it without any plugins. But there's fancier stuff that you can get. But one of the important things is a very basic concept in After Effects, and that's parenting. So I have my glue gun layer, and I'm going to take my glue gun layer, and I want it to move with the arm. So I'm going to take this little parent pick whip, and I'm going to attach it to the bent arm. And then I'm going to take everything associated with her head. So actually all of these layers here are other mouths and like stuff for her, but I want to take all of those. What is this? That just says Karen. Karen. I guess I want that, but I'll leave it there. I'll put it up here. Want all of the stuff that goes on her face to be attached to her head. That was the wrong thing. to be attached to her head, so that now if I take her head and I move her head anchor point down to her neck, then when I rotate her head, all of her stuff moves with her, right? And also now I can do that with her arms. Boop, boop, boop. See, now she can move her arms. So this is Karen out of cosplay. This is Karen in cosplay. So I also need to go through and rig her up for her cosplay. So this is a totally different pre-comp, but it's almost exactly the same because essentially what I did when I was making the horror stories... Is this her head? That's her head. What I did when I was making the horror stories was I made myself a person base that I could easily just copy and use over and over again and recolor. I think I actually have it in here. And boop, 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 boop. Yeah, I do. So this is my person base. It's just a basic thing, and I don't need it for this, so I can get rid of it. But it's just got a little body. It's all white so that I can color it whatever I want. And also, if I mess something up and I don't actually color it, it's black and white specifically because I can take the tint effect in After Effects, and I can map the white to any color I want. So if I accidentally forget to color something in Fresco, then I can do that in After Effects because it's black and white. But yeah, this just has the arms and the body, and then I just redraw whatever the character needs on top of it, which was really helpful for horror stories. So we need to take her head. I'm going to go ahead and change that. See how that's still labeled vector layer? That's annoying. I'm going to make that head. This is a close-up of her hem, and then... Oh yeah, I have this extra drawn piece that is a judge pulling up her hem. I think that needs to stay in here. But the hem close-up can leave. The hem close-up can go. That's in when she's in prejudging. So I'm going to put that over here. Boop, 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 boop. And then this whole background here with the judges is just something I drew for cheating, and it's actually already partially animated. And then these doors are also from the cheating video that are also still animated. Her body. I need her arms to do this. Boop. Boop. Pigtails. Oh, the pigtails. If I want to move the pigtails around, I can because they're on 2 different layers. And she's Queen Serenity, correct? She's Sailor Moon's mom. I was trying to find something for her to cosplay, and I was just like, you know what, that's fun. I try to do, like, you know, the anime classics when I do these, because it's like, you know, you want it to be recognizable, and it's just a silly thing to draw. She could have been anything, but she's Sailor Moon's mom. So now that's that judge's arm. Flipping the oh no, look. Oh no! Her legs have no color in them! No! Okay, so I'm gonna save this, right? And I'm gonna open Photoshop. I'm actually gonna turn this off real quick just in case my Photoshop has something, like, I don't want y'all to see, like my wedding stuff or whatever. Because when Photoshop opens, it shows all the thumbnails of everything you've opened. But I'll bring it back up in a second. So this is a sneaky thing you can do. Here's Karen again, now in Photoshop. After Effects is still open, by the way. This is the wonderful thing about Adobe products. This is what is so cool. Okay. There's the hem. Here's the judge checking the scene. So I just filled those in white. Watch this. I'm gonna save this. Ha! This is why Adobe products are goated. What I'm probably going to do is, here's the thing that is really important about After Effects. I think I mentioned this briefly when I was talking about... I feel like I've said this before. So, you see how when I click on this layer, it takes me into this composition? So that's what a pre-comp is, right? So this is the composition, that is the pre-comp. It is how we work in After Effects without working with 1,000 layers at once, right? Because Karen herself is consistent of, you know, all of these layers. And if I had all of these in this with all the backgrounds and stuff while I'm animating it, that would be really annoying. So you put her in her own little composition so she can just be in her own little group, right? But yada yada. The goal here, when I do animate her, she's going to be hot gluing her hem. That is her storyline. Is she hot glues her hem, she gets in line, she's in prejudging, she goes into judging, she's getting judged. So now I need also her staff again. Oh, I guess I need that. Oh, you know what? I should put that in here with her too. So she's holding it. Yeah, and then I'm gonna parent the staff to her arm so that when I move her arm, woo, fun. And then for her wig, I want basically the same thing again, but we'll make it a close-up of her on her wig, and then we'll grab one of the judges and have her like stand next to her. So I'm just gonna make this big, like this. And then I'm gonna make her big. Boop. Boop. So somebody can... Oh, you know what? No, you know, be really cute. We'll have the judge... The sad thing is the judges are not articulated. Let me show you my judges. Here's my judges. None of them are articulated. Actually, are they? Are you articulated? Her arms are! Okay, you'll be the checking judge. Because I, for some reason, gave you articulating arms. Now, I did only give her one layer of arms. But what I can do is I can do a mask on her arms. And then double the layer. And then invert the mask on the second one. And now she has 2 arms for me to work with. But I need to boop, boop, move her anchor points. Put her here with Karen. Boop. I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do that. And then I have sort of messed Karen up here. So another thing you might notice is, can you see... I'm gonna do one thing real quick so that I can see. I'm gonna make all of Karen's pre-comps in cosplay something I can see good, so I'm gonna make them all orange. But then if you look right here, so one of the things I was trying to do is keep, because even though I have different, I've copy and pasted her, right? That doesn't make a new pre-comp. So this keeps playing throughout. I've just put her on a different layer so that I don't have to deal with this one anymore. So whatever animation I do to this piece, because this is how I will move her body around. Like, I will make her walk by moving this pre-comp. But it's the same pre-comp in every single thing. So if I go in here and I move the arm down again, I have now done that to all of these, right? But what I can do is just keep animating her in the pre-comp to correspond with what's going on. However, what I don't want is the pre-comp to be starting over every time. And that's where you can see this piece right here. That's the part of the pre-comp I have cut out. So the goal, if I want them all to play at the same time, is I want all of these things to line up with each other. So you can see, actually, if I move that one, and then I move that one, then I can just go over here and extend that to where I need it, and then make it start here. It's not like, nothing I do is particularly like a professional way to do any of this. It's mostly like a lazy way, and a way to do it without any plugins. Like I said, there's lots of plugins that do like all kinds of stuff, but I do it without any mostly because they're like, there's a learning curve to learning a new plugin, you know, and this is just easy, and I don't really, it works, you know. It's if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, so she's gonna walk in, pick up her pigtail, and look at it, and I think that's really funny. I think I'm just gonna grab the judge arm that I have. Or do we just have the pink-haired girl do all of it? Because I think we're just gonna do that because she is the only one that has any articulating anything, so she's just the star of this. This is just a contest where they've gotten 2 judges. There's the extra lore. These 2 judges actually have no idea what's going on, and this judge is the only one that knows what's going on because I have made her the only one that's actually looking at this cosplay because these 2 are not articulated. Here's the prop. She gets the prop. Star judge. She's the star judge. She's a famous cosplay professional. Do you guys want to name her? She needs a name. Maybe something pink because her hair's pink. These aren't based on any like actual people. These are literally just like random, whatever kind of random person I could think of. But they're supposed to be cosplayers. They're NPCs! Maybe her name is Star Judge. That's her name. Her name is Star Judge. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is you know, at some point, we should give all of these stupid little random things names because they're just assets that I have now and that I'm going to keep using forever. But she's the only one that will ever get, like, let me go in here. If you don't know what I mean by they're not articulated, like, that's the wrong one. Each judge is a pre-comp. Oh, she's a couple layers. What? Oh, her arms. Oh, I can move her hair. Her hair can move. And her mouth. Well, she has 2 mouths. I can make her do this. Oh! Whoa! Okay. That's useful for because I want them to ask questions. I have made question marks. But I didn't, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and animate these, and I will show you the biggest video editors, motion designers don't want you to know this. So this, if I bring in this window, so this is the window I usually have in my second monitor. It has my effects and presets, which is, you know, standard to After Effects. I had just looked up tint. The way you usually use this is you know, look up what you want. If I wanted Gaussian blur, you know, any of that. This is a tracker. That's for tracking stuff. But the big important thing is this guy right here. This is Animation Composer. This is a free plugin that everybody uses. Everybody uses Animation Composer and Premiere Composer. It's made by a company called Mr. Horse. You can see that they're, you know, they have the little previews and stuff. Premiere Composer has a bunch of like transitions and stuff in it, and it's for Premiere. They have one for Premiere and one for After Effects. I use the Premiere one a lot for the transitions, those like zoom transitions. They have them in After Effects too. Yeah. These kind of transitions, those are all Premiere Composer. Every YouTuber uses them. Every video editor uses them. Everybody uses the Mr. Horse plugins because they're free. This is a free plugin. The Animation Composer is particularly useful because, let's say I want to, I'm gonna move this. Let's say I want to take my question mark and I want to make it appear like by scale. So it starts from nothing and then it gets to the size that it is. Well, for me to do that, I'm going to hit S on the keyboard to bring up the scale. I'm going to hit the stopwatch to make a keyframe. And then I'm going to go here. I'm going to hit 0. And oh, it does that. But it looks like okay. It also is too long. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go Command Shift and then on the arrow key, and that's going to take me 10 frames forward, which is just a standard, like, good animation thing. I'm going to select both of my keyframes and I'm going to hit FN F9, which is going to Bezier. I don't know how to say the word. But if I, so this is getting really into the weeds. Sorry. This is my speed graph. Or my acceleration graph. If I hit Command Z to undo what I just did, and the keyframes look like that, that is my speed graph. Okay. It goes from nothing to everything to nothing again. And that's why it looks like, that's why it doesn't look good. But if you if you hit FN F9, it does this to them, which makes it look like that. But then if you take this and you do that, then it starts off really fast and slows down, which makes it look really natural. Ooh. Okay, but then say you want to bounce in there. Well, that's really hard, and a lot of people for bounces just use scripts. So now, because I have Animation Composer, if I do this, if I select this one, overshoot scale from anchor point, I'm going to move this over so you can see it happen. Well, let me just make it small. And I want it to animate in, so I'm going to just hit that, a single button to make it do that. A single button. This is why everybody uses Animation Composer. So now I have 3 animating question marks for the judges asking questions. And I kind of actually like that one of them is animating differently. I think that's a little pizzazzy. For some extra pizzazz, I'm gonna differentiate when they come in. If I'm like, oh, that's actually not the size that I wanted it to be, and I'm like, oh, I want it to be this big. Well, now I've created another keyframe because I have keyframed the scale. So this one has to say at the scale that I put it at, right? But with these ones, because Animation Composer does it with a script, like if I hit, it's got a script in here. It's basically the coding of After Effects. I can make these a different scale, and it doesn't create another keyframe because the animation is done in the script. There's no keyframe in there. Wow. That's why it's also great. So another thing that a lot of motion designers do, and I'm not shading anybody for doing this, I personally don't do this for my own channel because basically what a lot of motion designers use is they use templates. So you buy a template on like something like Envato, and then you just like fill it in, and like 90% of the motion graphics you see on YouTube are templates. I don't do that because I like my stuff to be custom. I like it to be like themed to what I'm doing. And you know, people don't really make and sell like cutesy sewing templates on Envato, you know what I mean? But I have made a bunch of my own templates. So like I have an intro template that I use for like everything. I did it for one of those interview videos. This is it. It just says cosplay because I have not filled this out yet, but it is. The intro that I always do, it's a template that I made myself, and a template it basically just means that like I've set this up in After Effects to where I can just change out in it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yes, okay. So I also at some point made myself a bunch of like basic text animations that I converted into Mogerts that I can like pull into Premiere and just change the text, which is a lot to explain. But it's just magic, okay? That's just magic. But what that means, and I didn't know I even put these in my like base file, but now I have I use it for, no, this one. No. I am gonna go in, and now I just need to change no to, I need some word vomit for what Karen would say about her cosplay. I maybe kinda hot glued the hem. Sorry. It does play backwards, but you're not actually really supposed to read it. It works better for something like no, but it is a little long. I'll get rid of sorry. Or do I just need to move it? Yeah, I just need to move it backwards. I can have sorry. We'll add in a oh my god in there. Oh, we'll just do a bunch of oh my gods. That works. Boop. 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 So now that plays like this. Oh my god. You can't even read it, but I can make it. I need that to keep going further so that it's not. Whoop. There we go. Okay. Minutes of word vomit about how she made that cosplay. I want to throw a stroke on that though. Oh, I need the layer style. Layer style. Essential properties. Can I not throw a... No, I can. Stroke. Make the stroke black. Make it a little bigger just so you can kind of read it and it looks like it's not nothing. Now she goes. Minutes of word vomit about how she made that. That's also a thing that happens with After Effects is your preview. If your preview is going slow, it will play your voice like demonically low. So I'm sorry if that's really weird, but that's just a thing that After Effects does. Cosplay before she's ushered out of the room. We've got it laid out, y'all! We did it! I'm not gonna actually do the animation today because that mostly I'll just sit there and not have to talk. But this is funny. Yeah. So now I have this laid out. Now all I have to do is animate it, which is great because this is the the biggest, like, piece of animation. Thanks for watching this year-old Patreon stream re-upload. If you want to see the Patreon streams actually live or in full, then you can check out my Patreon because you can get access for just $1 a month. And a big thank you to Mel, or Pocket Leaves, who's editing these streams down for me so I can focus on my main channel videos. You can check out Mel's work on either their channel Pocket Leaves or Pocket Cons, and sometimes you'll even see me in their con vlogs. It's a special occurrence when it happens. But as always, if you're just watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, then you're supporting this channel too. So thank you. Bye!